Well, holy matrimony, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a special edition episode of the Xbox Factor podcast. And my God, I'm coming in hot, folks, because I just got done being interviewed by, check out this screen name, Ham Solo of Twitter. He's a gentleman. He is a gamer through and through. I want to thank him for interviewing me because, quite frankly, I don't think I'm that kind of a guy you want to interview because my channel is small and I don't put myself on any pedestals. But it was very humbling. The questions were really, really good. We just finished recording, and I swear to you, folks, 1 minute ago was interviewing, and here we are. I threw up the bat signal, and folks, we got some big breaking news today. Holy shit, breaking news. But let's introduce everyone. We're going to start first with Fuzzy Belvedere, someone that has been making the rounds on Double Barrel Gaming for quite some time. Fuzzy, welcome, and thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, man. What an interesting way to start off the morning.
I got to tell you, Pong, we were talking about this on yesterday's Xbox Factor podcast, the Tuesday edition. Microsoft seems to be just relentless. They are not letting off the gas, and of course, you're going to get some Dirt 5, which is one of my favorite driving games outside of Forza. The pedal to the metal does not really equate to what Microsoft continues to do, and today is another incredible day. Welcome to the program.
Hey, thank you. I'm glad I could be here. I got a snow day up in the frozen tundra.
Yes. We didn't get any snow here.
So I'm working from home. Had to get some stuff done. Had to make sure I could actually play hooky for a little bit. So, but I made it. So,
yes.
Man, this is exactly what we talked about, Boom. Dominating the news cycle, continuing that on into 2022 and the foreseeable future. This is the new Xbox. So what a way to start off 2022. Can't wait to talk about it. Let's get
after I introduce Crispy, who we haven't worked with each other for, Jesus, it's got to be 3 weeks or something like that. He's my brother. He's right down the block. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to say something slanderous. It's not meant to be console war because I don't hang out in that world, but I will. I'm going to talk about. You said it's something very, very, very interesting. This is the new Xbox. But wait a second, Crispy Bomb. Happy holidays, Happy New Year, and my God, what a way to start an average Wednesday.
I know. I mean, it's one of those things like, hey, I have a Wednesday off. Oh, look at this. Oh, boom. I was like, Boom's got to be bringing something out for this. And yeah, sure enough. And it's great to be back. And, of course, being with these gentlemen here, this is going to be a quick little impromptu fun thing
indeed.
that we get to talk about, Xbox taking pages out of Sony's book from the past decade. So I do love it. And it is funny to see. And let's get into it.
Well, what I want to say real quick is this. Everyone knows that I am a VR fan, right? I have PlayStation VR. I have an Oculus One. A Quest 2 is on the way. Hopefully it's not downstairs or it's not stolen because I got to do the podcast. But you said something, Pong, that was very interesting. And you said, this is the new Xbox. Well, it's funny you say that because the new Xbox used to be the new PlayStation. And it seems like the roles have reversed because didn't they just announce PlayStation VR 2 with, by the way, a new freaking Horizon game? And no one freaking knows about it. Only the people who keep their ear to the floor. When I heard, I was like, holy shit, PlayStation VR, let's go. Right?
Yeah.
A new Horizon, let's go. And nobody's talking about it. And now, with the news that brings us here today, folks, we knew it was happening. It was rumored for quite some time. Ubisoft Plus is coming to Xbox. Now, it's not coming to Xbox Game Pass as an added service that, like EA Play was. This is going to be yet. Yeah, and we're going to speculate on that. Yep. It is a paid service, but understand something here, folks. Ubisoft puts out minimum half a dozen games per year, right? Half a dozen, and I'm severely underscoring that. They put out 10 plus games per year. We know that, whether it's a big, AAA bomb or it's a small little indie title with BMX bikes, whatever. But you're going to get that content going directly to your Xbox. I've been calling for this for quite some time. I'm saying, well, it's on PC. How come it's not on Xbox? And here we are. But if that news wasn't good enough, and actually that wasn't the first news to drop. The first news was that Rainbow Six Extraction, their next AAA game in Xbox Game Pass, day and date. Folks, this is, look, it's big news for Ubisoft, but it's even bigger news for Xbox. And once again, like we keep reiterating, this is the new Xbox. And they have dominated the conversation since last year. And we're just, what are we, the 4th or 5th day into the new year, and no one is talking Sony. They just announced, folks, understand this, how what I'm saying is so important. They just announced their PlayStation VR with a new Horizon game launching with it. Do you understand how big that is for PlayStation? And you know what? No one gives a shit. Pardon my French. No one is talking about it. That's yesterday's news that everyone already forgot, because today Microsoft and Ubisoft dropped a megaton bomb. Pong. When again, this is an impromptu show. We have no show notes. We're just going on pure emotion. Talk about holy crap. But before we get to you, I want to read the press announcement that comes from Ubisoft community manager Daniel O'Connor. This is what they had to say. Ubisoft announced that Ubisoft Plus subscription service will be coming to Xbox in the future. Originally launched for PC, the service allows access to more than 100 Ubisoft titles in a single monthly cost, with games and DLC available on launch day, and monthly rewards including cosmetics, boosters, in-game items, and more. But that's not all. Ubisoft has also just announced that Rainbow Six Extraction will be a day one addition to Xbox Game Pass and Xbox Game Pass PC members, allowing them to play on Xbox consoles and PC right from the game's launch this January 20th. Now, obviously, it's a much larger press release, but I'm going to leave it at that. This is a big deal, Pong. But my question to you is, how big of a deal?
Huge. This is something that we've been talking about for a very long time. Now, devil's going to be in the details, right? We're going to get future details, but let's start with the guarantee that we know. Let's talk about Extraction, right? Coming to Game Pass day and date.
Yeah.
This is another huge W for both parties involved. Let's not forget that Ubisoft is a wounded animal right now. Okay,
yes, that's a great. Let's again, please reiterate on that, because they find themselves in a bit of trouble, and it is surprising that Microsoft is still willing to work with them, which means that there is some change behind the scene that is coming.
Correct. And Ubisoft has had trials and tribulations, much of their own creation. We know, again, much like Activision, they have some heinous accusations out there. They still have some legality stuff going on with some of their internal treatment of other human beings. We know that's a big deal. A lot of people, again, we've got short-term memories as gamers, so we forget about this stuff unless it's in our face all the time. Right. Ubisoft has quietly kind of put that in the closet, so we all kind of have let that go, but it's still there. So we can't forget about that. And then they've had these missteps. They're trying to navigate new waters in the game industry, and they have lost their identity in a lot of ways. They still put out great games. Don't get me wrong. Far Cry 6, I have yet to play it, but obviously I know a ton of people in this community who absolutely love it.
And I still haven't beaten it. It's one of my favorite Far Cries.
Yeah, absolutely. And they carried this current gen as it launched last year without Ubisoft, without Assassin's Creed, and obviously Watch Dogs, Legions. there would have been a lot less games to play when these new systems dropped as well. So they've they continue to do some good things, but then they have these missteps. So they start talking about NFTs when nobody wants to hear about NFTs, right? They start that whole stupid thing. Then they start turning their games into these games as a service that nobody is asking for, trying to hit that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow like they've watched so many other companies do, when that's not where their talent necessarily lies. I'm not going to sit here and say they can't do it. Sure, they could create the next big game. Anybody could do that because they do have the dev talent for sure. But it's caused a lot of waves and rough waters for them, especially within the community, within their fans, about asking where they're going and what they're doing. So this Ubisoft right now is still one of the biggest developers in the entire world. But at the same time, they're on a leaky ship right now. We just got word too, after I talked about a few weeks before, or a couple of weeks before the vacation, before the holidays, I had actually said Ubisoft has done a great job retaining their talent through all these tough times. And here then, literally a couple days later, after that article came out about how much talent is now leaving Ubisoft. So again, this is a leaky ship right now. So Ubisoft needs to do things to get the interest back onto the games. And they need to make sure these games come out and are successful when they're trying new things. Now they're taking Rainbow Six and they're creating basically a new mode and turning it into a full game. That's basically what Extraction is at this point. Now Rainbow Six is probably their biggest franchise outside of Assassin's Creed, right? Rainbow Six has done awesome. Siege is still extremely popular and doing very well for them. So this was a chance for them to expand out on that, which I think is a great idea. However, the way that they've presented Extraction up to this point has really not hit well. The hype levels are extremely low. I can guarantee you their pre-orders probably weren't the best.
Doesn't this remind you of when Rainbow Six first launched?
Yeah. Kind of.
It kind of fell flat, and then out of nowhere, it exploded.
Right. They did the work. They put the work again. Ubisoft puts the work in again. All the bad stuff aside, there's a lot of good Ubisoft does. They've given us free patches and upgrades to a ton of their older games for free, which a lot of companies are refusing to do. So they've had this dichotomy of bad and then goodwill, right? That they keep going back and forth on this. So I think getting Extraction in Game Pass, not only does it create more value for Game Pass, yet again, starting off the first month of 2022 with a big AAA third-party game. Yes, hype levels down, expectations very low, not too many people excited, but it's still Ubisoft. It's still Rainbow Six. It's a new game. It looks fun to me. Again, I'm going to try it out now.
Certainly
I wasn't
different
going to
than
buy
anything we've played with Rainbow Six attached to it.
Right. It's a mixture of other genres we've seen before. It's nothing groundbreaking here, but obviously they've got the base in Rainbow Six, which does very well for a lot of people. So therefore, they're just going to build off of this. But now that it's coming into Game Pass, right? We've talked about this so many times, Boom, over the past year about what Game Pass does when it starts to get to this point in terms of size. Do you risk not putting a game like this into Game Pass? We saw that with Battlefield, right? 2042. And I think that's going to come sooner than later. Do you risk it not putting into Game Pass? Or when you have a game like this that necessarily isn't going to have the huge sales out of the gates because a lot of people are questioning what it is, how it's going to play, not just simply kind of not interested. Do you drop that into Game Pass day and date like Ubisoft is here, get a little money from Xbox on top of it, but you give your game access to instantly millions upon millions of people who just because it drops into Game Pass, even if they didn't have real interest in the game, unless they absolutely hate Rainbow Six or first-person shooters, but even if you didn't have a whole lot of interest enough to go ahead and pre-order or buy it, you're going to download it and try it because your friends are going to be downloading and trying it as well. You instantly have that multiplayer base. This is a co-op multiplayer game. So you have that base installed for you. And all of a sudden, those people are playing it. And if it does work, and all of a sudden people realize it is a good game, like Siege, all of a sudden you have a swell of good good advertising going on from people saying, hey, you know what? Try it. It's there. That also helps Xbox and Game Pass because suddenly now you got another game that is going bonkers and people say, hey, I can jump into Game Pass and get this. Great. Another selling point for the ecosystem. So extraction is a huge W, right? For both sides, I think, personally. You can disagree with me. I totally can hear that. But at the same time, I just thought this was a great way to start off 22. Like we talked about, Boom, this is the new Xbox. This is dominating the news cycle no matter what the other people are doing, whether you consider them competition or whether you consider them not competition at this point, whatever the case may be, whatever happens in the industry, you always have something loaded up in the chamber ready to go. And that keeps you in the mouths of people. Because right now, like you said, Boom, PSVR 2 was being talked about yesterday, right? Again, even for some people, it's niche, so it's smaller, so it's not going to get the same kind of hype as something like this is going to, but it still was being talked about. It was cool. They did a nice job presenting it, but now today it's over with. It's over with. Everybody's talking about Game Pass. Everybody's arguing whether or not Ubisoft Plus is coming into Game Pass. That word of mouth does not matter how it's being done, whether it's positive or whether it's arguing.
Just look
it's
what's
still
trending
out there
right now on social
Correct.
media.
Correct.
Xbox Game Pass,
Right.
Ubisoft,
Yep.
Rainbow Six. These
Exactly.
are all trending right
This
now.
is what it does. This is what it does. So the Ubisoft Plus thing, I'll keep, again, Ubisoft Plus is not coming to Game Pass right now. However, the devil is in the details. Okay, so we're going to find out more. Now, Ubisoft, a while back last year, had put out a survey to a lot of its fans, asking if they would be in favor of a tiered type system. I actually did get that survey as well. If they would be in favor of a tiered Ubisoft Plus kind of service where you could get certain things advantages, because right now Ubisoft Plus gives you everything. That's the great part about it. It's day and date. All DLC, all expansions, plus bonuses, all of it in one for $15 a month right now. I think it's 15 or 20 bucks a month. Yeah. So that's fantastic. Now, could they be using Game Pass as a way to start testing a tiered system? Absolutely. Could they chop off all the extras? Could they chop off the day and date? Give you the back catalog like EA Play does, right? Not day and date, just the back catalog. And after a certain amount of time, games drop in there.
Goes into the vault.
Yeah. And they drop that into Game Pass Ultimate as well. Yes, they could do that. Could they offer a discount for Ubisoft Plus to Game Pass Ultimate subscribers, an easy upgrade, path?
Which I think that actually makes a lot of sense.
Correct. And that's what I personally think this is going to wind up being. I don't think, again, they could start out this way. This is a step. This isn't the final destination. Just like EA Play was an add-on at one time as well. This is a step for Ubisoft to get into the Xbox ecosystem. I don't think they're going to come out and just say, hey, nope, straight. It's just Ubisoft Plus, $15 a month extra if you want it for Xbox. I don't think they go that route. I think they do offer some type of discount out the gate for Game Pass Ultimate subscribers especially. But no matter what, this is a W. This is a smoke that's been around for a long time. We had heard a long time ago last year that this Ubisoft Plus thing was happening, that Phil and his team were talking to Ubisoft about getting something like this done. So I don't think this is the final form, but we still have to wait for the official release before we know all the details, how they're going to kind of work this thing out. But this is a first step, no matter what, at the end of the day. I eventually see it somehow, some way, whether it's Ubisoft Plus coming all into Game Pass Ultimate and Xbox bumping up the price, which I'd be okay with for $5 a month. I have zero problem with that. Or a tiered system where you just get a discount. It's an upgrade path and you can get that Ubisoft stuff. Again, to me as a budget gamer, I welcome all subscription services. This 100%. Helps me immensely. 100%, I have not bought Far Cry 6 yet. So the minute this drops, do you think I'm going to subscribe? Absolutely I am, because that right there is saving me, unless Far Cry 6 is on sale for $25. But that's probably not going to be the case. I will instantly subscribe just to get access to Far Cry 6. Now, will I keep my subscription? That's the key. But like you said, Boom, Ubisoft, the Ubisoft of old was putting out so much content each year that I could reasonably justify it as a budget gamer to join that service, because I do love Ubisoft games. I could do that. I just think a discount, then you're starting to talk about bringing in more masses of people, even the people that are on the edge that buy maybe 1-2 Ubisoft games a year. You get those people into that service with a discount. Just a great day overall. Again, dominating news cycle, word of mouth spreading. It's that mind share mentality. Xbox is pedal to the metal from here on out. This is what we can expect, these kind of big deals.
You know what's crazy? We are today's January 5th, right? Wednesday, January 5th. And we are already inundated with Xbox news. So what am I referring to? Well, if you checked out episode 9 of X-Vlog, which dropped on Tuesday, over the weekend we had State of Decay news, Banjo-Kazooie news. We had we had other Xbox news, and this is over the weekend, and that's just the start of the year. Right, that was literally just the start of the year. Before this news dropped, I was actually working on episodes 10 and 11. I'm writing those right now. And then when this dropped, I was being interviewed. Microsoft understands that if they're going to take down the giant, they need to continue to throw haymakers. Some of them are going to land, some of them are not going to land. But so far, in the start of 2022, they have completely, in my personal opinion, with this news today, pulled the rug out from the industry. And I say that with confidence, Pong, Fuzzy, and Crispy, because yesterday, PlayStation announced PSVR 2 and a new Horizon game. Again, that is freaking huge. It's a big deal for me because I'm there day and date. It's going to be a $500 piece of tech. They're talking 4K in each eye. It's incredible. And you know what? No one is talking about it before the news, and no one is going to talk about it for the remainder of the week, maybe the remainder of the month, because of this. Now, I got to catch up with some of the super chats, and I'm going to bring Crispy in on the conversation. Chris R. drops the first one of the day. Chris, thank you so much for being here. And of course, I respect his opinion. He says, big news today, but I personally cannot support Ubisoft for the same reason Boom will not support Activision, which I will not do. And he says, I wish things were better. And you know something, dude? You are 100% on point with saying that. I can't argue that point because I've been very bullish about how I look and feel about Activision and Blizzard because, like I said, being former law enforcement, hearing that there was a Bill Cosby room and that was known and no one did anything about it, it's mind-blowing. Do I agree with what's going on at Ubisoft? 100% no. And I think change is coming. I think the head needs to step down forthwith, the same way as the head of Activision needs to step down as well, and the same way the head of Blizzard stepped down. They all need to go, and change needs to come in a big way. Eagles fan 76 drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, boom, 31 games coming to Game Pass day one in 2022. Oh, I'm sorry, there's 32. What's next? What's that day going to be at the end of 2022? I don't know. It's the best deal in gaming, and I think that they have seriously caught both Nintendo and Sony flat-footed. I really believe that this service, whether they have 30 million or by the end of the year 50 million, I don't know, but it is a service that literally, if you are a gamer, whether you are rich or poor or somewhere in the middle, cannot live without, and that's hard to say. That is really hard to say. Alexander Dark 91 drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, Ubisoft suddenly announced Splinter Cell is coming back. Maybe this was part of the deal with Xbox as well. Also, Bethesda ESO just just announced. Yeah, they actually did that on social media yesterday. I just completely missed it. I'm going to probably be talking about that on Friday's Breakfast with Boom. We have a new channel member, UK Lad. Welcome back, brother. Thank you so much for becoming or re-upping as a channel member. Let me see if I got everybody so far. We got one more. Eagles fan 76 drops an additional. Wow, dude. Thank you so much. An additional $5 super chat and says, Phil made 3 things happen. First was power. Narrative second, and games and studios was third. Was never being upstaged again. all three with all three, they're still improving on. Yeah, it's yeah, you're right, 100%. They are still the day-to-day operations for Microsoft cannot be understated. Big shout out to Ham Solo 05 in the chat. I just sat down for an hour with him. Go check him out on YouTube. Definitely give him a follow on Twitter. Interview was fantastic, and if you want to hear some real emotional boom, you should definitely check that out for sure. But Crispy, you being a part of many of these special edition shows, and of course the Breakfast at Boom every Friday, we have on many occasions talked about Microsoft and how they just refuse to quit. Now, granted, we know that they started out pretty poorly, but they made so many big changes. And like I said, if you look at the Microsoft that's currently in front of us, post E3 2018, with Phil making the announcement of the additions of those studios like Ninja Theory, like Obsidian, and of course the creation of the quadruple A, the initiative, it has literally been a non-stop flurry of ways to make the fans excited. It started in 2018 and continues early on in 2022. What are your thoughts on today's announcement?
I'll tell you, number one, Phil's a savage, man. Like, let's be serious. You can just tell this guy has been gaming for his entire life because he just knows what gamers want. And you know what? The funny thing is you got the Rainbow Six Extraction. You're like, oh, okay. All right, in Game Pass. Wow. Well, guess what? That thing, that's the new timed exclusive for Xbox. That's what it is.
Yes.
Okay. It's not, oh, you can't play it on this other console. If it's a AAA game, they're just going to throw it in Game Pass, and that's what they're going to do. And guess what? You could argue, you could hate it as much as you want, that you got to pay $70, or if it's a DLC or something, $60 or $50 on PlayStation. You don't have to pay that on Xbox. And I'm telling you, that's going to be a big deal. You know what I mean? And it's not, you can't sit there and say, oh, they're locking you out of playing the game. Not like, Final Fantasy, which has been sitting on PlayStation forever. And my
2 years almost now.
My buddy's like, dude, like if it comes on Xbox, I'm playing it on Xbox, but they won't let it happen. Yeah. So it's like, it's one of those crazy things that we're at the point where, you had Outriders, you had MLB The Show. Okay. And those started last year, kind of in a way. And it was like, damn. And then they started bringing out like the high quality with the exclusives with Forza and with Halo. And it's like the one thing that Ubisoft has in common with Xbox is many of their games are multiplayer centric. You know what I mean? And most of the Xbox games have been multiplayer centric. Now you're going to have your Hellblades, your stuff like that. But at the end of the day, that's what they want. They want to engage multiplayer gamers, and the NFT stuff, all the missteps Ubisoft does. I always look back to when The Division launched, and they could have just literally left that game to nowhere because it sold great, but it was trash. Yeah. And then they kept working on it, kept giving you free updates, which then was a big thing. It was like, oh, you could charge for these updates. Now it's like, they give them for a reason because they need to fix the game. You know what I mean? And we're at a point where I look at the Series X and I say, imagine the 360 without the red ring of death. That's what we have right now. If there was no red ring of death, the 360 would have outsold PlayStation 2-1. I guarantee it.
Yeah. 100%.
And the only reason why PlayStation caught up is because of the red ring of death. Because at the end of the day, Xbox had better games, better first-party games, and they were doing the timed exclusive, or they were doing games that nobody else was willing to do. I mean, you look at, the relationship with Bethesda. It's incredible that people think that this isn't natural. Xbox nurtured Bethesda to help them become a console gaming company as well as PC. Yeah. And people just don't realize that. And I challenge you right now, if you don't understand what I'm talking about, go watch Power On. It is free on YouTube.
Dude, it was so good. I want to watch it again. It was
I have
so good.
I've watched the last 3 episodes twice already, and I'm probably going to just rewatch it one more time because, you have to look at the angst involved when you're like the king of PC with Windows, and then Sony goes out and says, we're going to have, a PC in every household, and it's going to be our own, and it's going to be our own ecosystem and all this stuff. Well, at this point, Xbox is stepping all over that thought process almost 15 years later and saying, you know what? We have this ecosystem. We have a box so powerful. We have a quality product that people want. And not only that, we have an option that is less of quality as far as what it can do, but the same, it's going to run as long as you want it to run or as long as you want to have it. And I think that's important because, we've went through those times with the red rings, the loud fans, like, dude, like before there was headphones, dude, like some of these PlayStations were like, it sounded like a jet was in my room. And I'm like, I'm trying to listen to the damn TV. Like, what the hell is going on here? So at the end of the day, you have to look at Xbox and say, they're not playing games no more. All right.
No.
The company, the entire Microsoft company is looking at Game Pass and everything else and saying, we could be a $10 trillion company. We could be the greatest, but it also comes down to looking at the gamer, okay, and saying, what do they want? Not everybody wants the same thing. That's the whole damn point. And that's what they're doing. Now, I'm not saying there won't be timed exclusives on smaller titles. That's where their bread and butter is, because some of these smaller titles become huge, or they take PC ports and they're the first one to do it. They're not stopping PlayStation from doing it. They just get ahead of the game and they're like, well, we work with PC. So, I mean, at the end of the day, we're looking at this and you're saying, what can they do next? Well, I'll tell you, if Extraction does well and Ubisoft, whatever contract they have, maybe they have like a back end contract where they make money off of each download. You don't know what they're doing. So if that happens and they technically make, whatever they make off of 10 million downloads, then they might be like, hey, let's do this. We could have this Game Pass, whatever you want to call it, elite package, or you know what I mean? Like where you get Ubisoft Plus, you already have your EA Play, and you have your normal Game Pass. It could happen because Ubisoft has been reeling. They haven't really sold as much as they normally would.
Yep.
And I think this is an important thing. It's like a shot in the arm for them to say, okay, we got to try something different. And I think this is why this has happened now.
Look, we know for a fact, right? We've all talked about it on this show. We've heard other people talk about it. I don't want to get the number wrong. Pong, please refresh my memory. Did we hear they had $150 billion ready to drop to spend? Is that the number, or is it or
no? It was more than $1 billion.
Oh, it was okay, more than $1 billion.
More than $1 billion. It was billions. Jeff Grubb, if you're talking about
1.5 billion, I think it was.
Yeah,
I said 150, which is
150. Yeah, no, it was. I was like, yeah, wow, boom, that'd be pretty crazy. I think Jeff just said that it's billions, and he said, I'm not going to give you the exact number, but it's billions. So ready to spend on Game Pass. Yeah.
Look, here's the thing. I think what we're witnessing, what we saw happen last year, is Sony did some people can call it devious. People can say, well, that was a real scumbag move. Folks, it's business. It's business. And they locked up Forsaken. They locked up Final Fantasy VII. They locked up Final Fantasy 16. There's a few other deals that that I might have forgotten or will eventually be announced. And they did that for several reasons. One, they don't have a Game Pass service. They're working on it. Uh-oh. Your brother Steel Rain has joined the here comes another challenger. Steel Rain.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, what's good? Boom sent out the signal, and me coming off some sickness here. I had to jump in here. I'm getting.
I was gonna say, is this an imposter? You don't sound like yourself, brother. What's going on?
Hey, I'm it's a little bit down the road. It's been a couple days, over 101 fever, but getting over it slightly.
You sound more like your actual brother, by the way.
That's hilarious.
Well, first of all, Steel Rain, thanks so much for answering the call. I cannot wait to get your opinion on it. We just got done talking with Crispy Bomb and Pong. We're going to bring in Fuzzy Belvedere, and then we'll get your opinion. But Microsoft, what they are doing, at least in my personal and potentially professional opinion, is they once again pulled a page right out of Sony's book. And big shout out to Pixel Bit G. He's a good friend of the show, generous friend of the show. He drops a $2 super chat and says, exclusively free for me in Game Pass is Xbox's new exclusive. I've been saying that for quite some time. It's not that it's in Game Pass and that it has to be exclusive. I honestly believe, in my opinion, Game Pass has become the new exclusive for Microsoft, because very similar what we saw with the advertising and marketing when Destiny first came out. There were a lot of people, a lot of the normies thought that was only on PlayStation, right? Well, what happened last year? Well, with what was the game that was like you just said it. One of the games that jumped into Game Pass day and date.
Outriders?
Yes, Outriders. Yeah. There were a lot of people that thought Outriders was an Xbox exclusive because it was all over the place in Game Pass, as anyone talked about. And of course, we can't forget that MLB The Show, an actual PlayStation exclusive, jumps into Xbox Game Pass, and we get the upgrade for free, and their fans have to pay $76.11 if you are in New York, which is preposterous. And this is just another big feather in the cap to Phil Maximus Aurelius Spencer. I said it all wrong. It's ridiculous.
You forgot Dominus in there.
Phil Dominus Maximus Aurelius Spencer.
There you go. Yes.
He's going to kill me if I'm getting it wrong.
Get the knees.
And
we should add the Savage after. I'm just saying.
I've been saying for a while he needs a fourth name. I would probably forget it because I'm an old man. But regardless, it is a big deal. And again, folks, you just have to. I'm all about timing. I think timing is something that we don't really put a big emphasis on when you talk about content creation, at the right place at the right time to drop a live show. I'm very fortunate to be retired. I'm very fortunate to have a group of men of this stature be here to talk with about this. Absolutely incredible. 450 people here, folks. 450 people here live.
Yes.
And I can't thank you enough. And if you are new, if you're just finding the channel, man, help me get to 10K. We're close. We're just a pinch over 700 away. And if you, like I said, I do a lot of content, and I think you're going to dig it. It's all positive content. And when I do have some negative stuff to say, it's done with class and tact. But let's get Fuzzy's opinion on this. Fuzzy, this is a monster deal. And what a way to start the year. I mean, we're only in the 5th day of the month. We're on an average boring pissing rain Wednesday, and we get this news. How big of a deal is this for Xbox and its core gamers?
Oh, it's awesome. I mean, all right. Let me start off by saying I'm a big Ubisoft fan. Aside from their turmoil behind the scenes and whatnot, big Division fan, big Ghost Recon Wildlands fan, Splinter Cell. A lot of their titles like Far Cry, all of those I already have on the hard drive. So I'm going to give the pros and cons on this, but just to reiterate what you guys have been saying, this is definitely a page from Sony's playbook. I mean,
yeah, indeed.
Yesterday they had some big news. Horizon fans should definitely be talking about the VR aspect, and that they're going to have a standalone game for it. But Sony's old method was whenever Xbox had positive news, the next day you squash it by something even more positive. So now Xbox, even though, like Pong was telling me earlier, this probably wasn't planned to be that, but I kind of get this impression this new Xbox has a lot of things in their back pocket that they could have waited until March to say something, but no, you know what? We want to stay trending, so shout out to their marketing team for this perfect timing aspect. But yeah, Ubisoft saying hi to Game Pass and Xbox, and Rainbow Six Extraction is going to be there day and date, which was one of those kind of games that I was kind of thinking may just wind up being a day and date anyway. And to have the back end news be that we're getting Ubisoft Plus on Xbox as an app. Now, pros and cons. It's $14.99 on PC, which I'm assuming that's the initial thing that we're going to see on Xbox. It'll probably be a standalone for like $15 a month, hopefully a little less, but we'll see. But if they can possibly add this to Game Pass Ultimate as an add-on, even if it's a $5 or maybe even a $10 add-on a month, as the surveys that Pong was talking about earlier suggest.
I think Pong's onto something with that, though. I think there is going to be some sort of a discount, because what we have to talk about real quick, and I don't mean to interrupt you, Fuzzy,
no, go ahead.
is that choice is key.
Mm-hmm.
Right? What if you don't already subscribe to Xbox Game Pass and you're like, well, you know, it's just not for me, but I love Ubisoft games and now I can get everything for $15 a month. Maybe that's the route you want to go. Or maybe you're like me. You like being subscribed to everything because that's what we do. And maybe they say, okay, just like Xbox Game Pass, you get all of these things and it's $15 a month, but for $5 or $10 more, you do this.
Yeah.
And maybe they raise it to $20 and they say, okay, it's $20 a month, but you get Ubisoft on top of that. But if you want Ubisoft on your own, it's $15.
Yeah, I totally see them possibly, testing the waters and doing something along those lines. I mean, me being in a household of gamers, I got two sons with their own Series S's each, and they each got Game Pass, although we're kind of working the whole, Microsoft Rewards points to keep that up because don't really
nothing wrong with that.
Don't feel like paying $45 a month just yet. But yeah, if they
and by the way, just to, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off again. The Family Pass is coming. We heard Aaron's been talking about it. That is something that has really been a big part of the conversation. One of the Iron Lord podcasts from last year, I don't know if it was Jason Ron, it was somebody on the team that says, yeah, that's coming. So nice. Just to throw that out there.
No, at this point, no one can argue the value of Game Pass in general. But if they do like a family plan, or even let's put aside the family plan aspect, if they do like an add-on of Ubisoft Plus to Game Pass Ultimate, I won't say it's going to be game over on the other side, but it's going to make the Spartacus release a little less special, I guess. I mean, sure, they can add Crunchyroll in there and things along those lines, but they're really going to have to swing it out of the park to try to be on par at that point with what you're getting over at the Game Pass side of things. But this news in general is just awesome for the fact that as an Ubisoft fan of their games, you're going to have one of their new titles day and date in Game Pass. You're going to have the option to get the app as far as like an add-on through Xbox. A great way to start off the year. And if this is how they start the year, I mean, you usually only hit the softballs early on in the year. You save the heavy hitters for later on. If this is how they started, oh man, this year is just going to be freaking unbelievable going forward. But man, I'm really excited. I'm glad I didn't decide to just snooze a little later this morning. But yeah, this was an awesome way to wake up and see this news. And man, sorry PlayStation, sorry you're not trending just yet, but hey, it's us gamers, we win. And hey, maybe Sony will dig into their pockets and try to get a fastball or something here soon. But man, this was amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, Steel Rain, before we bring you in the conversation, I got to thank a couple of super chats. First of all, Geezer Prime drops an outstanding $10 super chat and says, Game Pass equals mind blown. Here's to another great year. And folks, I always say that I don't ever feel worthy of this kind of generosity, but Bunty, a generous friend and an extremely good friend of the channel, He drops a $50 super chat. I mean, my God, that is bananas. Thank you, Bunty. Definitely appreciate that. And in all caps, he writes, "Happy holidays, Boom and panel. Another year to be happy about Game Pass. I've been in and out off of your shows, Boom, but you know I'm always watching. Keep up the great work. Listen, brother, even when I don't see you, I know you're watching, and I'm humbly appreciative of that. So thank you." And we also got another channel member. Black Conflict X becomes a new channel member. Well, dude, thanks. Really awesome. I really appreciate that. Thank you very, very much, bro. Listen, Steel Rain.
Yeah.
This is another. I mean, again, I have to keep reiterating this. We're only in the 5th day of the month. We just got a ton of new games released on Xbox Game Pass. Mass Effect Ultimate Trilogy is one of those games, thanks to EA.
Play it, please.
Absolutely. I'm playing a bunch of the indie ones. There's one that's used a stick figure that's like I could call the pedestrian. Check it out. I just finished the one with the puzzle.
Right.
I actually had to use this big brain. For just 2 puzzles I needed a guide for because I couldn't figure it out. I got 800 of the 1,000 achievements.
Right.
And then we get the news that a big AAA game from Ubisoft in Extraction is coming out on the 20th, day and date. And then on top of that, the cherry on this Banana Boat Sunday, that's going to take 3 people to finish, but I'm going to figure a way to do it by myself. They dropped that this service that I have been asking for as a Ubisoft fan is coming. I understand it's not in Game Pass. I have to pay separately, but I think there's going to be. I cannot stress how big of a deal this is for Game Pass, for Xbox gamers. This is a big deal. What are your thoughts?
For me personally, I think it's a big thing, like you were saying, Boom. It's a big thing for everyone. Again, I always go back to, we're going into the age of accessibility, and this is doing nothing but proving at that point more and more each day that we come across it. One thing that makes PC gaming so great is that you have access to these different services. For an example, I had Ubisoft Plus myself, and that's how I got back into Origins, Assassin's Creed. That's how I got into the newer Ghost Recon games, Wildlands and Breakpoint. It was basically the biggest reason, if not the only reason, I said, all right, let me jump into these games, because I've been away from those titles for such a long time. So when you see, we kind of been talking about it over the year or whatever the case, because this whole Ubisoft kind of subscription service coming to Xbox overall has kind of just been in the conversation pieces and whatnot. But for them to boldly say, hey, well, it's not going to be part of the Game Pass subscription model. And of course, that's what they're saying right now. For me, the bigger picture is that people are going to have more access to games in a subscription service that they don't necessarily have to come fully out of pocket for. And at any point that you could do that to benefit us as gamers, to benefit us because you can't forget, we are still consumers at the end of the day. I feel that is the bigger picture. Though Ubisoft has a steep hill to climb here, and unless Xbox is going to kick back and really back up some trucks for them, for me personally, I find it very difficult to take Ubisoft Plus at $15 a month on top of my already Game Pass subscription service. And I play for Ultimate. So let's just say you get the basic, Xbox Game Pass, $10 a month, and you get the Ubisoft service. You're still looking about $25-$30 a month regardless. Now, could that be a benefit to you? Of course. I mean, that's better than you spending spending an amount on 3 different games. I mean, right there, you're already looking at games going to continue to go the way that they have, whether it's $60 or $70. You're still looking at almost $200 within just those titles themselves,
and all the DLC too, stuff.
And all the DLC that you're not
for Ubi,
exactly
for the Ubisoft stuff,
which is the other part of that deal, because Ubisoft Plus does give you everything. It's not like, oh, here's a little bit, here's just a basic game. No, it's everything. No matter what comes out with the game. Like right now, I never bought Assassin's Creed Valhalla, but I played it through Ubisoft Plus. Right now, I can jump right back in and have all the DLC available to me right there in my face to play whenever I want it. That's an amazing thing. And it's one of those things I can opt out or opt into. It's the again, we always talk about giving people options. It's another option on the table of the buffet, if anything. We see that this is the path that we're kind of going down. I see it as a boon to Ubisoft themselves because they need this. They have a lot of bad, not necessarily marketing, but they have a lot of bad drama going on in the background that they have to kind of throw some sand over just to cover up a little bit and really so they can start selling these bigger titles. How are they going to sell Avatar down the road if they still have all this back end conversation and all the negativity and everything else that's going on in house? So it's like, I think it's just a super advantage to us as gamers. It's an amazing thing that I see a lot of people are really up for it. The biggest thing that I've been seeing with people, though, is that price point. How are you going to nail that price point in? Are you going to give it to $5 or you're going to add an additional $5 to your Game Pass Ultimate members to make it a benefit to them? Because at that point, it's a no-brainer. $20 a month for Game Pass Ultimate and Ubisoft with all the DLC, no matter what game you release. That is true insanity. You're talking about day-and-day releases. Ubisoft Plus gives you that also.
Yeah.
So it's like having that extra benefit there can be great, but you got, provided you have the content, people are excited about Extraction. I myself, I'm not. It is. I mean, it is what it is. But I'm hyped for the people that are hyped for it, and you're getting it in Game Pass. So that's letting you know that there's a bigger deal, even with them saying, "Oh, well, hey, Ubisoft Plus isn't going to be part of your subscription, but here's this brand new game in your Game Pass service."
Yeah,
there's something else bigger that's going on in the back end that I feel like is something that really people should really be paying attention to, which is kind of leading credence to me that there is going to be a bigger. I don't necessarily think there's going to be a tier service for Ubisoft Plus, but I think there may be another tier for Game Pass Ultimate.
Yeah,
Plus
that makes sense.
Whatever.
Yeah, that makes sense. Again, maybe they charge you $5 more and they bring it up to $20. Who knows? I personally look. Here's the thing. I don't know about anyone else on the panel or and the near 500 people we have here. I'm sure that when you say backlogs, all of us, I'm a 6-foot man, right? So my backlog is twice my size. It's preposterous how many games that I have not finished or gotten to, and I hate that because I love finishing games. This is a monster get for Xbox and its millions of fans. It's a big deal for Ubisoft because let's just say for shits and giggles that they're at 25 million, which I believe they're at 30, right? That's my inner circle is talking. They're saying they're at 30. We'll undercut them and say they're at 25. You're dropping a new game that has little to no hype, just like Rainbow Six did when it first came out, before it became this monster franchise that everyone is playing. I don't play that kind of Rainbow Six. You know what Rainbow Six I want? I want a Rainbow Six Vegas remake. That's what I want.
Yes, sir.
Let's do it.
Old school Rainbow Six.
Oh, that's ridiculous. I love Rainbow Six Vegas 1 and 2. It was just so freaking good, and that's my Rainbow Six. But Extraction is coming in hot. All puns aside,
very hot,
and it's gonna have 25+ million people potentially download it. Now, is everyone gonna download it? No, but you can if you want to, and maybe you played and you're like, "Holy shit, this is really good. I would have never played this unless it was an Xbox Game Pass." How many times have we heard those statements from all of us? Oh, I played Game X and my God, it was incredible. I would have never played it if it wasn't for Game Pass.
The biggest thing about that too, though, when you think about it, is Outriders had the same effect. Everybody denied Outriders, and then it coming into Game Pass was nothing but a boon for them.
Yes.
And they've stated that. Not only that, but you see also how well Rainbow Six Siege is doing.
Yes.
They have a consistent audience, and those people will play Extraction.
Yeah,
because it's the same game with a new flavor on top of it.
But the
People are gonna flock
developers,
to it. Yeah. People are getting paid. Like we got to stop concerning ourselves about who's getting paid, who's not getting paid.
these
Unless
are
you're in the
billion
stocks,
dollar
wouldn't release
companies.
it.
Yeah, don't worry about them. They're going to be fine.
Let's talk about the games. Facts.
They're going to be fine. But listen, folks, look, we're closing in on an hour. I do want to just because we could ramble for 3 hours more, and that would be awesome. But everyone does have limited time.
6. You got me and Steel on here, Boom.
That's true. That is true. You guys,
It's been a couple weeks. It's been a couple weeks.
I do want to close out the show with a question for the chat and for the panel. Start with Pong. If this is the start of the year, how big of a year are you expecting Xbox to have?
Oh, gigantic. I mean, again, this is exactly what we talked about, Boom. Look, I don't know how many different ways we can say it and turn it about and look at it from a different side. It's diamonds all the way around right now for Xbox, okay? They're going to continue to shine throughout this year, throughout next year, again, just on sheer content alone. But this is exactly what, when we talked about it last year, and I described it as an avalanche starting, right? This is exactly what we talk about. Once you get this momentum going, it just continues to get faster and faster because Xbox has Microsoft and Satya behind them with all the money, and they want to push this. They are in the growth stage. They are nowhere near their final form, right? That's where they're at. So they're going to push this to the limit. That means acquisition season is still on. That means that we're going to see more deals like this. If this is the beginning of the year, again, did any of us see Extraction? No. Was the potential always there? Of course. Did we hear about Ubisoft, Ubisoft Plus possibility coming into Game Pass or Xbox at some point? Yeah, we heard a lot of that smoke. And again, we don't know the details yet, but we know for sure we're going to at least have the service available as an option. This is the way you start 2022. Yeah, you're right, Boom. It's just going to continue because guess what? They want to carry this momentum into E3. E3 is about 6 months away, right? So what are they going to do in the midterms? They're going to go ahead and continue to make sure that people are talking about them, that mind share rolling into E3. And then guess what? E3 is going to explode. Starfield alone could be, again, for me, hypes off the charts, but everybody already knows the legacy behind Todd Howard and his 18.
God Howard, sir. Let me correct you.
God Howard. I was going to use that next. God Howard is blessing us with what could be potentially a generational type game. Yeah. He's done it multiple times in his history. That is there. That's like saying Tom Brady has the potential to win a Super Bowl, okay? This is where we're at with God Howard, okay? So again, Starfield alone, not talking about any of the other things that we got. Forza Motorsport, Redfall, right? Potentially something from Machine Games, Wolfenstein 3. We just talked about that yesterday as well. If they surprise or shock the world, Quake we know is being remade. Whatever else they've got in the pipeline that we have not heard about, plus all these third-party deals like this one today, guess what? Get ready, buckle up. We're in the roller coaster. We're on the downswing, right? Coming up to the loop-de-loop, right? When Xbox really throws us, for excitement-wise. So this is just a start, Boom. And this is a great way to start, but expect it throughout this year, into next year, and continuing forward. This is the new Xbox. This is what we need because, again, they are selling a subscription service. A subscription service like Netflix cannot let up. Otherwise, you lose people. You lose customers. You have to continuously have new content, new excitement, new things dropping in so that people not only already subscribe, stay subscribed, but also the word of mouth continues to go out and people go, God, I got to get on this train. God, I can't miss out on this. Oh my God, the value. That's what you want, and that's what Xbox is doing right now.
Yeah, real quick, I got to shout him out because he's here. I've become very, very good friends. I like to consider him an extension of my family from the other side of the pond. And I'm talking about John, one of the lead voices of Xbox Era is here in the chat. And he says this, it's going to be a big year, Boom. And because he sits beside Special Nick, who has the connections, they know something that I mean, listen, just listen to the rumor mill. It's great. They know what they're talking about, and I believe it. John, welcome to the program, brother. Thanks for being here. And I couldn't be proud of you guys. They hit 10,000 subs last year, and the channel continues to grow. Cannot be more proud of those guys because they did it the right way, right? No hate, just constantly putting the nose to the grindstone. So a big shout out to him. Real quick, let's bring in Crispy Bomb. Crispy, man, I mean, if this is January 5th, what is March 5th or May 5th or June 9th with E3 going to look like, or September 2022. I just think that right now it is Xbox is hitting on all cylinders, and I don't even think, regardless, and I said this before, I'm looking forward to God of War, I'm looking forward to Horizon. Even if Sony bookends them, I don't think it stops the momentum of Xbox in 2022. And this is another reason. What do you think is going to happen for the box that actually almost wasn't and is now in the driver's seat?
Well, let's be honest for a second. It's about value. You can go and spend that $70 on God of War Ragnarok, or you could spend half a year on Game Pass and get all kinds of games. And
Yeah.
that's up to you as a gamer, especially if you have both consoles. Look, I was posed the question the other day. I was like, like some people were like, why don't you have a PS5? Well, I could have got one, but I don't want one. I'm not spending that money because the games they come out with are so regurgitated, in my opinion, that I can't see myself doing that. Now, Boom is going to completely disagree with that because he loves those games.
Yeah.
But for me, I love multiplayer, and that's all I ask. Bring something. You want an exclusive game to your preference, and for me, I don't see it. So, you look at Xbox, and it's like, okay, if they weren't day and date exclusive into Game Pass, it would be a bigger competition. But as of right now, like the extra games, these third party day and dates that are not technically exclusive, but they feel like they are,
Yeah.
they become a big deal. And I look at it this way. I say, Phil, like there's a few things that he said that he's went back on, but for the most part, he's really delivered on his promises.
Oh,
and,
sure.
and I really feel like there's going to be some kind of, maybe more for the Xbox community than the gaming community. There's going to be a big shadow drop, because if you look at the games that they announced at E3 2019, and then like the showcase that they had at the beginning, the indie showcase, stuff like dude, like Stalker 2, like stuff like this is really going to engage gamers. And you could sit here and say, oh, it's not a PlayStation exclusive. No shit, it's not. But that's because it's first person, and I haven't seen one of those in a long time from PlayStation. And it's like, if PlayStation's so good, how about taking those games that you are so good at and kind of branching out? And it's like, nah, I can't do that. We got to be third person. Literally, like, and I'm a third person gamer, but I'm like, dude, like, I feel like I'm just playing a different story in the same setting, or the same setting in a different story, one or the other. And it's like, okay, you have different characters, awesome, but I don't know, like, it doesn't engage me. And on top of it, what I experience on Xbox is totally what I want to experience for that period of time. I don't have to choose. And the beauty of it is I don't have to choose with my money either. I just go and say, oh, this is on Game Pass. Awesome. You
just download it and go. Yeah.
And you know what? I might not like it, but guess what? It didn't hurt me. It didn't hurt my wallet.
Nope.
Especially nowadays. Dude, it feels like we're going back to the beginning of COVID. So, people are like, angst with spending their money. Like, let's be honest. So, at the end of the day, Xbox is doing things for the gamer themselves that no other company continues to do. Now, you could bring up PS Now and how they're doing the, what is it, Spartacus or whatever the fuck they call it, but excuse my language. At the end of the day, it's not what Game Pass is, and it starts with a day and date. It really does. And you go and invest in this ecosystem, and you say whatever they come out with, and say, hey, here's Redfall. It's coming out tomorrow. They could do that. You never know. And the way they're acting right now, it's like, we're bouncing on our own balls type thing. You know what I mean? Like, we got this.
Yeah,
we got this for you. And And you know what? Gamers are going to be happy as long as they're subscribed to our subscription, and that's where they're trying to get you.
Yeah, I mean, dude, yeah, 100%. Real quick, I gotta. First of all, Lost Forever Plays is asking, "Boom, are you gonna play Dirt 5 on PS5?" Yes, I am. Because I'll get. I got almost all the achievements here. I'll get some trophies over there because I love Dirt 5. It's like one of my favorite racers. And Gerald Mack, I gotta read this. He says the value of Game Pass is on some real bully shit right now. Now you roll with it or you get rolled over. I mean, I can't even comment on that, dude. That's great.
Hey, just to add to that too, real quick, Boom. Drinkbox just announced that Nobody Saves the World is hitting Game Pass January 18th. Jeez. So that's that little indie action RPG. It's awesome. I played the demo during that ID at Xbox when it's amazing game. I love Drinkbox. And so they confirmed the date today, though. Game Pass, day and date, January 18th. So another one.
What else can we say? Fuzzy, let's get your final opinion on this, brother. With what we know, with the way they ended 2021 on a high note, with hitting on all cylinders with Forza and Halo and Flight Sim and Psychonauts 2 and Age of Empires 4, and the list just keeps going on regarding the indie scene. And now we're starting this year with the news over the weekend about Save the K3, about Banjo-Kazooie, and now we get this day and date drop of Extraction, and now we're getting Ubisoft Plus as a service in the Xbox ecosystem. How big of a year are you expecting from Team Green?
All right, I'll start it off with like something that I joked with PTK Blim and like a party chat a while back. It was like, we kind of forgot about an XO last year, although Forza Horizon 5 knocked it out of the park. Halo knocked it out of the park. So nobody was really talking about, they didn't have an XO. I think they're going to just like what Pong was saying earlier with the avalanche. I refer to it as a flood, and the flood has already started. The dam is broken. The water's everywhere. It's just going to keep on pouring in. I put like a little mini list together, and it's like Anacrusis and like Nobody Saves the World.
Yeah, dude, that looks really good. Yeah.
You got Crossfire X next month. You got Tunic in March. Was that March 16th?
Yep.
You got Stalker in April. Possibly. And this
Plague's Tale is coming.
Oh yeah, Plague's Tale's coming.
GoldenEye, the remake is coming. They already they just confirmed that on Xbox Era.
Possibly Age of Empires coming to console. Yep. Wink, wink. Let's hope Mayish or so. Redfall is going to be possibly summer, June or July. I'm still thinking Forza Motorsport's going to hit somewhere in maybe August, September range.
Yeah, I'm thinking October.
We're going to get Deathloop over here. And I love that on my PS5 and can't wait to play it and get the achievements on my Xbox. But you got Scorn, you got Starfield, and that's just what we know is in print. Marketing materials already out for. Yeah. June is E3. Like Pong was saying, E3 is going to be their tinderbox where they kind of blow all of our minds type of deal. We get to see more gameplay, obviously, of like Starfield. I just get this inkling feeling that we may see very much so a Wolfenstein 3 type of deal, or maybe some gameplay of like Indiana Jones or something like that.
So good.
Because Bethesda's all about surprise us with stuff in at E3, and by the way, download it next week or something like type of deal. But Compulsion's game still out there. It's still being worked on. Hopefully we see some more about that. But like I was saying earlier, if you start off the year, you usually just hit a few softballs. You save the heavy hitters for later. We already know Starfield's out there. I still think they got about maybe three big heavy hitters in their back pocket. Maybe at least one of them, if not two of them, will probably show up this year as far as releases. Maybe one unannounced game that be coming in upcoming years. But yeah, if this is the start, just buckle up, be ready for E3. If you don't already have an Xbox Series X or Series S, pick one up now while you can. Because I just have a feeling this news cycle is just going to keep on flooding in with more and more hits, more and more reasons to subscribe to Game Pass or just pick up an Xbox in general. I mean, if what they've been releasing over the past 8 or 9 months isn't enough to catch your attention, I I think you're either already dead or in a coma or something along those lines, and it's just going to get that much more in your face here pretty soon. But they're this is just the start, man. This is going to be an awesome year. I can't wait. My wallet can probably wait, but other than that, I think this is going to be a very fun time this year.
100%. And closing out, Steel Rain, the voice of Living Split Screen on Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is the longest standing running podcast. They're still doing it now. It's like 37 hours in. It's ridiculous. Steel Rain, sum it up for us, brother, in the best way that you can. Is Xbox poised to dominate the conversation in 2022 once again?
This time coming around, I think 100% for sure. A lot of people bring up the conversation of, IPs matter. Oh, we got these, they look better than yours. And what people fail to realize is that the consumer always looks at variety, because consumer always looks at ease of accessibility. Again, I'm going to beat that drum until that drum no longer makes any noises, because that's exactly what we are moving into. And the quicker that people can realize this is the quicker that we will evolve as a gaming community, because the more people we can get involved in the community, they have no choice but to do more R&D, to bring games forward, bring out better titles, bigger titles with more imagination than ever. They have to flood the community, especially, well, not just the community, but the entertainment side of it also, or the industry side of it more so, just because it is that noticeable. It's that serious to just overall to entertainment. Gaming is the number one form of entertainment. Indeed. Not just because it's interactive. I mean, a lot of people make those references to Netflix and everything else, except the one thing that gaming has over anything is that it's interactive. I'm not just sitting there falling asleep half the time, or just binge watching whatever. You have to be involved. You had to dedicate time. And the fact that we're getting more access to content creators, Picassos, as I always like to call them, because gaming is just art and should be treated as such, I think it's going to just bloom into something that we could have never imagined. And Xbox is leading that way more than anybody else is currently doing it in the industry. PlayStation does very well. Again, bringing out those movie style type games, third person over the shoulder games. PlayStation has been an integral part to gaming overall, to hardware overall throughout the years. I know a lot of people started with Walkmans and whatnot. I mean, you got to think about that. That's the conversation we're having. The fact that, every time that we get into these conversations more and more about Xbox's future and everything, it takes me right back to that Power On documentary, because Sony literally let a service-based company come into a hardware space and fight for what most people consider the top three seed spots. Out of everybody that exists in the entire world, Microsoft is up there and is selling consoles at a rate that people have to argue about whether it's beneficial to them or not, whether my piece of plastic is better than yours or not, in the types of games. Because that's really what we're arguing about. Your games, you like your games better than what is on this other box. And that's fine. But Xbox, Microsoft is showing you that they're moving towards what is going to be better for the gamer. VR is cute and all, but let's get more accessibility to the other 2.5 billion people that we currently do not have access to because they would rather sit on their mobile device. The amount of time that people sit there on their phones, the amount of time that people spend on their way to work, just because this hasn't been a thing over the last 2 years because of the pandemic, doesn't mean that it's not going to get right back to that. And you think the world's not going to be even busier now? Come on, man. And Xbox, Microsoft sees that play. Like I've said before, this is the first time where Microsoft has took that step out into the future and is actually on the money with it. Other people have to play catch up at this point. And I just hope that at some point it could be less about us console warring and us more about what is going to push our industry forward so that everyone can enjoy it, so that everyone can have the access, so that the devs can sit in those chairs longer than 5 years and not lose their friends, family, loved ones, or even just their sanity because of how much time and dedication they're putting into their pieces of art. And I think Xbox is right on the job with that. So that's where I think Xbox is going to knock it out of the park again this year. So
Yeah, well, I mean, well said. Real quick, Barking Spider in the chat says we forgot Dying Light 2 potentially in Xbox Game Pass, and because Microsoft kind of injected some cash flow into their development hell that they were in, I think that is a lock. They just haven't said it yet, and that's another one. But listen, folks, what a great hour and 15. I want to thank everyone. We had almost 500 people here that tuned in for the breaking news of Rainbow Six Extraction in Game Pass, and of course Ubisoft Plus coming to Xbox in its own service. I am thrilled that we had this many people here. If you are new, please consider subscribing to the channel, and of course, before you get the heck on out of here, hit that like button. But let's get to outros and get everyone out of here. We'll start first with Pong Soul. By all means, brother, sell your brand, tell everyone about Living Split Screen, and where can people reach out to you on social media?
Oh, I got my hype man with me today. I don't have to do much work, although he's a little under the weather, so I might have to do a little extra. Now, first of all, I'm going to say this every show. Again, please continue your prayers, thoughts for Spooky Sprocket, great member of the community. 100%. Again, a lot of people in here today. Look, if you never had the pleasure of interacting with him, he's just a great human being, okay, period. He's from Australia. He was found unconscious in his home. He's in medically induced coma right now. It's
he just
touch and go.
He just got engaged.
Did he? Yeah, he just got engaged. Yes, he did get engaged to Trinity Warrior on Twitter as well.
An amazing person and community member. So prayers and thoughts to them as well.
Yes, and he's got kids and everything else. So please, even if you haven't interacted with him, just send a little extra, however you do it. It doesn't matter. Just a little extra energy his way because he needs it right now. Otherwise, everybody, thank you for coming out today. Boom, this was a great special. I'm glad I had an opportunity to be here. Snow day. I told you, brother, whenever I'm around and you put up the bat signal, I'll be here if I can. So this was awesome. This was an awesome conversation. Brothers, it was great to get this extra special episode in with you guys. Chat, you guys were absolutely amazing. Great conversations in there. So happy for this whole entire community and how exciting it is because this is the golden age of gaming, as I continuously will say. I will beat that drum, like Steele said, until it doesn't drum anymore. Okay, period. It's the golden age of game. Enjoy this. There's so much excitement right now. This is why I jumped in here to this community as a whole. I love the atmosphere. This is just awesome. So glad to be here. You guys can find me Pong Soul, Xbox, Twitter. You know the drill there. Tomorrow night, Thursday, PM in the PM with Fun Speculation, aka Mav, over on his channel. That's right, Pong and Mav in the PM. We're gonna have a lot to talk about. It's been 2 weeks for us there as well. We usually deep dive 1 or maybe 2, sometimes 3 topics. Tomorrow, I have no idea what's going to happen. So join us, PM in the PM.
Bring the Pampers because the show is going to be 4 hours.
It might be there as well. We both can talk too. So 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 o'clock Central time over on Fun Speculations channel. Friday nights, Xbox Ultimate, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock Central time, back over on Fun Speculations channel again. Woo, we're going to have some stuff to talk about. This is going to be a big week of podcasts, let me tell you. So jump in over on Friday nights, Xbox Ultimate. Saturday mornings, Living Split Screen with my brother from another right here, right now, Steel Rain. He and I go 3+ hours Saturday mornings to get you guys started. So jump on in. We are building a great community over there. We passed 400 subs just before Thanksgiving. Dude. So we're on our way to 1,000. That's our goal this year, is to make 1,000. We want to get there, so please check out Living Split Screen, all one word, Saturday mornings, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time. Ooh, like we've already said, it may be 6 hours this week. Who knows? We'll see how Steele's feeling. But come check us out there. Then, obviously, Saturday nights, the Shop Podcast, PTK Blam, my brother from another right here as well, Fuzzy Belvedere, Centurion. Man, it's been 2 weeks for us there. We're going to end your Saturday night right. So come check out the Shop Podcast, PTK Blam's channel, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock Central Time. And, of course, back next Tuesday on the Xbox Factor podcast. Love you all. Respect you all. Thank you for joining us. Golden Age of Gaming. Play what you love what you play, and I'm going to talk to you real soon.
Thanks so much, brother. And Crispy Bomb, tell us where people could reach out to you on social media, but more importantly, where will you be talking about this once again this week?
Pong Soul, the professional podcaster, you have literally eliminated any thought that I'm on a level that you are, sir.
Whatever, Chrissy, you doing this for a long time, brother. And I got my start with Retro Renegades over with you guys and obviously Jay. So
we created a monster. That's what we did.
We did.
We
did.
You know, I just want to say, prayers for Spooky. I mean, let's be honest. Like the interactions, if you ever had with him, he is just an awesome person.
He's a good dude, man.
And
I
really, I just pray for them both at this point. And I hope that this works, because at the end of the day, so you got to look at medical stuff. It's got to work. Like they have a plan. Hopefully it works. That's all we can hope for. At Crispy Bomb on Twitter, Crispy Bomb 28 Xbox Live. You can find me on the next podcast tomorrow night, 8 p.m. We have Breakfast with Boom Friday, 10 a.m. And of course, you can find me on Retro Renegades, 7 p.m. Tuesdays. And yes, shout out to you all. Love y'all. Be safe, be well. Enjoy time with family.
Yes. Well, we'll talk to you soon, Crispy. Can't wait to do our first Breakfast with Boom of 2022 this Friday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. But thank you so much. And Fuzzy Belvedere, you are on a bunch of podcasts as well. I'll leave the door open for you on Friday morning if you'd like to join us to continue this conversation, because I think there's more Xbox news coming by week's end, and I think we're going to have more to talk about. But by all means, brother, please tell everyone where they can reach out to you on social media, but more importantly, where could people find you on other shows, and where could people subscribe to your outstanding and growing YouTube channel?
Well, I want to thank you so much for the opportunity to be on here with my brother and the other community members that, I enjoy, conversating with. Man, this was so much fun. You guys are awesome. Chat was awesome. I can't stress this enough. Enjoying gaming it's my hobby. Being retired, this is so much fun just participating in this, but glad to be here. Glad you could have me on here. For any of those that want to see or hear my ramblings on Forza or Insurgency Sandstorm or anything gaming related, you can find me on Twitter at fuzzy_Belvedere. You can also catch me with Mav on Mondays on Fun Speculations channel for tidbits. And then I would love to be here on Friday with you, Boom. So yeah, just I'll be available.
Nice. Well, we'll definitely get you in on the conversation, because I believe it's gonna continue, and we do have some other. I want to get more into the drink box conversation, because I think that's a big game, and it might be one of the games that are on many people's top 10s of 2022 early in the year, coming literally right before Extraction. I mean, and in Game Pass. I mean, what else can you say, Crispy? Fuzzy, we will see you Friday morning with Crispy. And finally, Steel Rain. By all means, brother, sell the brand. Tell everyone where they can check out your 40-hour podcast coming this Saturday morning.
Oh, goodness gracious. Look,
24-hour stream. Go.
No, we probably won't do that. That sounds obscene. But it is kind of crazy, because it's been a couple weeks since we've been getting to it. But, friends, family, your loved ones come first. And that's kind of what we've been handling this last couple weeks. You got to take a break sometimes, right? But look, Boom, you're one of the, I want to say, the most magnificent people in this community, man.
Thank you, sir. That's very kind of you to say.
You've been a shining star from the moment I decided to even started listening to podcasts overall. Gaming has always been an integral part of my life, of my being. It's a passion of mine, whether it's at a competitive level or just at a normal level, whatever it may be. You were the first person I looked to when I got into this, and I'm forever grateful to you, man.
Thank you.
You put out
very
excellent
kind
content. For those who haven't hit the like button, please get under this video and hit that like button. More people need to get this hardcore gamer talk, man, that only Boom can provide you. But with that being said,
did you just say hardcore?
Hardcore, man.
He did.
You got to use it for different things. You got to see, when you use hardcore in the proper manners, it works. But no,
don't get Steel Star. We're gonna take over the show, Boom. You're gonna have to jump off.
No. But with that being said, you can find me. I still reign everywhere. The T is a 7. If it has a search bar, type it in. You will find me. Hit me in the DMs on Xbox, whatever the case might be. Let's talk about games. If not, you can always find me and my brother from another Pong. So every Saturday, 9 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. UK time. On Living Split Screen, where we talk about everything going on within the gaming industry. We're a non-console centric platform, and overall, we're just trying to get to that other, as I stated, other 2.5 billion gamers who just aren't as invested as some of us may be. With that being said, look, the chat has been amazing. Y'all were just lighting it up. A lot of people were saying amazing things in there. Panel, y'all were amazing. Crispy, it's always a good time to have you on there. Fellow Gears brother in the house. Fuzzy.
Yeah, bro.
Man, I can't say enough about you. You're an amazing individual. Always love your opinions and always love the perspective that you come from. Pong, you already know what it is. You're my uncanny gentleman. And Boom, again, as I said in the beginning, you're probably one of the biggest stars and one of the most amazing people in our community.
Thank you, sir.
And people should wake up to realize that. But with that being said, much love to everybody.
Well, thank you for the compliments, dude. That is very kind and extremely humbling beyond words. I'm glad that you enjoy the content, and I'm glad to work with you on a regular basis because you are someone that I believe has the trajectory for you guys is just there's no limit. You guys really you keep it real, you keep it 100, and you just talk about gaming. And when there's something negative to talk about, we do it in a way that isn't browbeating and console war shit, right? Which we don't like. But big shout out once again to everyone. I mean, we had almost 500 people here. And real quick, the interview I did today, Ham Solo is in the chat. Go follow him on Twitter. My interview is going to be going live tomorrow on his YouTube channel. Please give it a look. It was a lot of very emotional Boom on that channel. We talked about a lot of stuff that I may have not talked about before. And I think it was a good interview. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in to Double Barrel Gaming Special Edition Xbox Factor Podcast. And of course, I'll close out the show. That's what's something that's important to me. And hopefully one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dad instilled in us when we were kids. And he said, son, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules. And I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone, and we'll see you next week on the newest episode of the Xbox Factor Podcast.